Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today we're working on a Ford Falcon ED motor. This is a 4-litre single overhead cam inline 6 engine. It's from 1994. The timing case on it shattered and sent metal shrapnel all through the block, so I thought I would rebuild it. This engine I've inherited, well, the car that it's from I've inherited from my pop, and I kind of just wanted to try engine stuff. I've always been into cars, but I've never actually got my hands on like a motor and tore it down before. I have swapped motors, but that's kind of just like, you know, it's kind of more straightforward than a actual motor tear down. So yeah, it's something new, something different. Thought I'd give it a go, and I hope you guys will enjoy my video on it. This is going to be like a commentary style video over the footage because there was just so much footage. So yeah, I'm going to leave you guys to my live com that I recorded before. Let me know at the end of the video if you enjoyed this style of video, and I'll catch you later. So as you've seen, I've just taken out all the pistons, I've taken off the timing case and the flywheel. I'm now moving on to the crank. So I'm just removing the crank end caps, I believe they're called. So that was the crank out. Now I'm moving on to the freeze plugs, or the Welsh plugs. So you just want to hit them on one side with a chisel and then just get some pliers and sort of just pull them out. They can be a little bit tough sometimes. You just have to be careful that they don't fall into the block, because you don't want something in your coolant valleys, you know, blocking it up or whatever. So yeah, just a chisel and a hammer, just tap them out. Careful not to hit the cylinder wall on the other side of them as well, because you don't want to damage that. That'll, you know, mess with your piston and all that sort of stuff. So here I am spraying out the block. I just used a pressure washer. I'm not really experienced on what's the best way to sort of clean your block down. This is just an at-home backyard DIY job, you know, so I'm kind of just, you know, spraying everywhere that I think should get a spray. There was actually chunks of rust in the block where the coolant flows. After I sprayed it down, I then sprayed WD-40 on all of my surfaces that I didn't want rust. So everywhere that there's a screw going in, everywhere that there's like a piston, you know, a flat machine surface, everything got sprayed with WD-40 just to push out all that water and make sure there was no rust. Some areas then I had to use brake cleaner on and just get rid of the rest of it. Here I'm cleaning the pistons. I just wanted them nice and shiny. I probably didn't really have to do this, but I did it anyway. I replaced all the piston rings with new ones. So here I'm just removing them, and they've just been soaking in degreaser for about, I don't know, they were there for about an hour, and then I sort of came back and just scrubbed them down. It was pretty gunked up, all of that carbon build up. So it did take a little bit of elbow grease. I eventually just switched to a razor blade like you see here and just scraped off the last little bits and then just brush off any remaining residue. Being very careful not to scratch the surface of the piston with the razor blade and cut into it, because that could, you know, do something. I'm not really too sure, to be honest. I'm not, like I said, I've never really worked on cars. Here I'm cleaning the timing case. So the part on the car that broke and sent metal all through the block was the timing case, the original timing cover. The bottom of it, where the chain sort of runs along, just shattered, and there was lots of metal up all through the block. So I went and got one from an EL Falcon. So this is from an ED Falcon, the engine that I'm working on. And I went and just got this timing case off an EL because they fit. They're pretty much exactly the same. The only difference is the top of the timing cover has, on the ED, it has like a ridge so you can put your gasket in, but on the EL it's just flat. So the gasket from the ED can't be used. You have to get a different gasket for that. So everything's been cleaned, and now we're just placing the crank back in and tighten it down to torque. I think it's 80 to 100 Newton meters, I believe. Unfortunately, I also lost the footage of the pistons going in, so in the next clip when I'm putting the Welsh plugs in, you'll see that the pistons are already installed. So I'm sorry. Now I'm in my PJs, you know, just woke up and chucking in the Welsh plugs. So these, you just get a socket that fits the rough circumference of the Welsh plug. So when you tap it in, it goes in nice and evenly. If you had a smaller one, it would not go in very evenly, which, you know, you want a really nice even sort of seal around. So now I start prepping the block for paint. The car that it's going in is a lavender purple, that's the official name, which is sort of like a light purple color, I guess. So I wanted to paint the engine purple as well to fit in. I couldn't find the exact same lavender purple in a ceramic paint because obviously you need like a high heat, high temperature paint for engines, but you know, I'm pretty happy with the color that I've chosen, which you'll see it soon. So yeah, everything that I didn't want paint getting into, of course, was all sealed up. I didn't want to paint over the Welsh plugs. The old ones that were on it were painted black, but it sort of came off them. I guess it's because of the metal that it is. So, and that these new plugs were a nice gold color, and you'll see in a minute. They actually look pretty nice against the purple. Pretty happy with how it all came out. So here now I'm just giving it a light sanding after I've taped everything and cleaned everything. Just needs a little bit of a light sanding, and then you just wipe off any excess rust or whatever there might be there. And then just a final clean down to remove any oils or anything with some brake cleaner before the paint goes on. Just to be sure that I get a nice, good coat. So now we're painting. You can see it's like a dark sort of purple. It's a gloss finish. They had no matte finish for anything. Everything was just gloss. Gloss black, gloss purple, gloss red. I was thinking red for the... I was thinking a black block and doing a red valve cover, because for the Ford 4-litre engines, the red top means it's like a turbo engine, motor, whatever. But this is not a turbo build. This is just a fixer-upper of a NA motor, you know. And by far the most satisfying part was peeling off all of this tape and seeing those crisp, clean lines, which is exactly what you want. But I was saving the top of the block for the last peel, and I was hoping to get a really good shot of it all coming off, but it sort of just teared apart from itself. It came off alright, but I wanted a more satisfying shot. I was still very happy with it. And there it is,
Not bad.
nice and painted.
It all looks so sick, fully assembled.
Beautiful. So now we're moving on to the valve cover, just prepping this for paint. So just removing anything that I shouldn't get paint on. So all of my little clips and holders for spark plug wires and all of that is just coming off. The whole thing was also sanded down and like cleaned and everything. It was painted, but I did lose the footage for it. So that's why we've had a jump cut to this, which is new valves. So they had to get lapped. The head was machined, but he didn't do the valves because I didn't actually have them at the time. So I just thought I'd do the old-fashioned way. I don't actually know if I've done it right either. Like, I kind of just went at it for a bit. I didn't video it at all because it took ages. But yeah, I just sort of roughly went over each valve and lapped them as best as I could to my known abilities, you know. So here I've just put on some gasket paste and the new sump gasket. The sump was also painted a gloss black. Even though you won't see it, I still wanted to just like paint everything and just clean it up all nice, so I can just be satisfied with myself, sort of thing, looking at it, I guess. I've actually put the sump on too soon. I should have put the timing cover on first, which you'll see me mess around with next. Yeah, it was a bit of a mess around, but well. And setting up the timing was a bit of a struggle. I had to get the cylinder head just sitting on top to hold the chain up. So you can see I've taken the sump back off there because it's just getting in the way. So yeah, the cylinder head has come forward, so the timing assembly can all sort of like sit up there. I just got a screwdriver to hold it all up out of the way while I put the cover back on. Went on pretty nicely, nice and clean as well, so I was pretty happy. Yeah, so now I'm just screwing in the cylinder head, or bolting it down I should say. This I also lost the footage for, but it was torqued down. There's the cat. So here I'm just pasting on some more gasket paste, and the valve cover's going on. This is a different valve cover. It's also from an EL, just like the timing cover. So the gasket and the shape of it is actually like all kind of different, but it still goes on pretty well. You just need to buy a different gasket and it all sits on nicely. Just cleaning it up now, just cleaning up the paste that's sort of leaked out. This is going to do it for this video as part 1. That's the full long block assembly done. The next part will be like the accessories going on and maybe it going into the car. I'm not too sure. I haven't really looked at the footage for part 2 yet. I hope you've enjoyed this style of video though, this different commentary. There's a nice lovely shot of the whole car there. Sorry, the whole block. I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. If you guys enjoyed this style of video, please let me know in the comments or just leave a like or something, I don't know. I just feel like it works a lot better for how much footage I have to just explain it, as the video is like going at like 600 times the speed it normally does, because a lot of this takes a long time. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one, I guess.